Hello friends. So in today's video I am going to show you how to use Docker image, how to create Docker image and how to run specifically Python, Scala and Spark application using Docker, and I will also show you how to use Docker Compose to run the multiple Docker at the same time. So let's start with the Python first. So as you can see, I am going to run my first application, which is just printing the hello Docker, and this is my Docker image. You can see this is just running Python. We will be using this Python 3.7, and the working directory is app. Then we will copy this whatever we have in app in current directory in this Python. We will copy it into app, and then we will run this Python using Python HelloWorld.py. So let's start running this Docker file first. So to do this, what I am going to do, this is my Docker. So in the previous video I have already shown you how to install Docker and how to do the basic Docker. I have also shown you how to install Kubernetes cluster and Docker on it. So today I am going to show you how to run the Docker application using Docker image. So let's start. So I will also create the same directory here. I am just creating Python. I'll go inside it. Now I'll just copy paste the same thing. So first I need this Docker file. So I'll create a file called Dockerfile, and I will just paste this as it is. I'll send you all this script so that you'll be able to test it in your machine. Okay, now I need a Python file which is this HelloWorld.py, and here I will just type the print statement. You can see this is just a print statement. Okay, so you can see now I need this two file. Okay, so now I am going to run this application using Docker. So to run the Docker, the basic command is docker build, then you need to give the image name. I'll give Python app, and then we'll put dot, and you need to put -t also. So this will start building the Python application. So now you can see the Python, we are able to build the Python image. So if I do docker image ls, you'll be able to see this Python app. Now let's run this application. So to run this application, you will just type docker run and the image name. What was the image name you given while building this Python app? So now, okay, there is some error in this. You can see this. I mistyped this, so I can just change the file. I missed the double quote here, so I'll put the double quote. Then again I need to rebuild this, so again I will do this. So it's build. Now you will be able to see using docker image ls. Okay, now let's run it. So we'll use the same command. So now you can see I am able to print the result hello world. So this is how you run the normal Python application. Similarly, we can also run the Spark application. So this one, you see, I am creating one Spark application with the addition, you see, and this is just adding two number in the Spark. So the next one is the Spark application, the Pyspark application. So let's do that, the same thing. So what I will do, I'll create a new folder, because make sure it's a Pyspark, make sure your Docker image and your script is at the same directory, so that it will be easy to copy paste the script into the Docker image. So we'll be using this. Now this is the Docker file. So I am there, you can see I am inside Pyspark folder. So I'll create a file, docker file, and in this you can see here I am running this update, then I am installing Python 3, and then you can see we are installing Pyspark here, and then we are copying the whatever you have, this app.py, it will be copied into this app directory, and while submitting you just run this spark submit command, master local. So this is what we are doing for the Docker file. So now let's just save this. Now we'll write the Spark code app.py. So this is our Pyspark code. So now if you can see, we will be using this. Okay, we'll do the same thing, same command, docker build -t Pyspark. You need to put dot. So dot means the present working directory. Okay, I just, instead of app I put sap.py. So now let's create it again. So it is installing, you can see Python, it will install the Pyspark, then it will run the Pyspark application. So this is how you can run the Pyspark application using Docker. So you need to wait for this until it got downloaded and installed. So it will take some time when it will build the first time, but the same image if you run the next time, it will not take much time. So now you see it installed Python, now it's installing. So you see, using run command you can run whatever command you want to run. By default it's a Ubuntu machine, so whatever you want to install, whatever you want to configure, using Dockerfile you can configure it. So this one you can see, using run you can install anything. You can set the working directory using set, and you can copy from your local machine to Docker using this copy command, and this cmd command is getting used to run the application. So all the run command you see, it's getting used to install the packages. And what JRE, so directly we are using this Java directory, this Java Docker image. Let's see whether it's still okay. Now it's done. Now I can do docker run, then we'll just put the application name. So now you will see, you will get the result. So you see it's running as a Docker, the Spark is running as Docker image, and you can see Docker container, and you can see the result, it's 10 plus 20 is 30. So that's what was our code that we have written here. Similarly I have for Scala also. So in the Scala, if you want to run the Spark application using Scala, so you need the SBT. So we use this SBT by default. Here you need to specify the Scala version, and you need to specify the Spark version and the main class. So some main thing you need to So this is your hello world example. So we are just printing the hello world using this Scala. So this is very simple, this is not much to do, and we have, okay. So now let's create the Scala application. So similarly, now I'll create a directory for Scala, and then we'll need to go inside Scala, and now just create the file build.sbt. Just I'll copy paste the same thing. Okay, now we need Dockerfile. So you can see in the Dockerfile you can set the environment. So you install Scala and set the environment, whatever version we required. We copy the, so this copy you can use the particular name also. So or else you can also use the dot star also to copy everything. So anything is fine. Okay, I'll send all this Docker image and the files, so that I'll put it in the description, so you'll be able to use this as an example. Okay, so now we need a Docker file, so we'll just create Docker file. Okay, now we need a Scala file, which is your HelloWorld.scala, so that you can just so you see how useful Docker is. We don't have Scala installed, we don't have anything installed, but still you can set up everything in Scala, and you can set up everything using Docker, and you can run your application in an isolated environment. So this is also done. Now let's just create the image. So for that you need to run the same command, docker build-t, and the file name and the name of the application and dot. So now it's, you see HelloWorld.scala. Okay, so there is error with the Scala. Let's see. By Dockerfile, do we have, you can see using ls, so we have HelloWorld.py. okay, I copied the wrong thing. I need to move this HelloWorld.py to HelloWorld.scala. That's the name we have. So you see, first we are compiling, then first you copy this HelloWorld.scala, then you compile, then you run. So I need to change the name. Again I am missing, so it should be hello. Okay, now if I build the image, okay, let's see. So we have HelloWorld.scala, we have Dockerfile. Okay, HelloWorld.scala is, name is not correct, sorry. Scala like this, it should be like this. Okay, let's try now. Yeah, it's working now. So it will generate the script, it will create all the necessary packages needed for Scala. It will download, install. You can see now they are downloading the Scala. So now you can see the image is built, and now we can run the image using docker run scala. So now you will see the result, hello world. So this is the result, we are just printing hello world. So this is how you run docker image. So I told you how to run Python script, how to run Scala, and how to run Spark, Pyspark, or you can run using Scala as well. Now I am going to show you how to use Docker Compose to run all these three container at the same time. So let's start that. So basically this is the template for Docker Compose. So here you can see for each directory you can specify the directory. Here in context everywhere you see .scala, .python, .pyspark. In my case I have three different folder. So you can see we have one Pyspark, Python and Scala, and your Docker Compose should be in this Docker folder. So your directory need to be in the same way, and then you can specify the context, you can specify the app and the command which you want to run. So for all three you see, specify the directory, specify the working directory, then what you want to run. Similar way for this Spark also. So this is how we are going to use Docker Compose. So let's start. So we also need to create a directory and put all this folder into this directory. So currently here if you see, I'll go one step back. So I have this directory Pyspark, Python, Scala. So I'll create a directory docker and I'll move Pyspark. I'll just move p star into docker, then which one is remaining, Scala, md scala to docker. Now I'll go to docker. So now I need to put this Docker Compose. So I'll create a file docker compose. This is a YML file. So in this I'll specify version and all the required thing. So this should be the way your Docker Compose should be inside the Dockerfile, inside the Docker directory, and all the other directory need to be there in the same directory. So this should be like, if I do tree, okay, you can use this command tree. So this command will help you to list the organized. So if I do tree now, so you see you have this Docker Compose. So if I do tree // docker, so now you see inside docker you will have this docker YML and then Pyspark, Python, Scala and all the required folder. So this should be your folder structure to run the Docker Compose. With this example, you can, when you want to do in your way, then you can specify in this other way around. So for this application what we are using currently, you can specify in the similar way. Okay, so now let's just build the Docker Compose. So before that, what we can do, docker image ls. So we'll remove all this image. So in the previous video I already shown you how to remove the docker. So So in the previous video I have already shown you how to remove the docker image, right? So using this docker rmi command. So if container is running and if you try to remove any docker image, you won't be able to, because it's already running. So for that you can use -f command. So for all this thing you will use docker rmi -f. So this will remove all the docker, it will remove all the container related to it, and it will remove the docker image also. So let's just remove all the docker image, then we will create the same image using docker compose. So let's just remove this, and there is one more default something got created. So now if I do docker image ls, now there is no, we can also check the docker container and we can remove this using this command. So if you use this command will give you the list of docker container which is running, you can see this. And if you run this command, this will remove all the docker container. So I will put the description of the previous video, and you can watch the video using the docker command also. So all the command is also there. So now if you see there is no container running and there is no image. So now we are going to create the images using docker compose. So to run the docker compose, you just need to write docker compose build. So we need to write docker compose build. So to resolve this issue, we can use this command. So you need to download this docker compose. If you are facing this, ideally you should not face this, but if you are facing this, then we need to do this step. I'll give you this command as well in the description. Okay, now if I run the docker compose build, you see it started building. So now if I do docker image ls, you see docker.scala, docker python, docker Pyspark, you are able to see all this file, all these three got created. So that's how it work. So if you see here, so that's what we created. So using docker compose, you can create all this image, whatever image you see, this docker file, it will get it from there only. So we are able to see. Now to run this docker, you need to use docker compose up. This will run all three docker image into container. So you see it got created, now it's running. So first one you see it's printed hello docker. The next thing you will see it printed hello world for the Scala Spark, and the last one you see this is the result of Pyspark. So this is the benefit of docker compose. So I have shown you how to create docker image one by one, also how to run Python, how to run Scala, and how to run Spark. And I also explain how you can use docker compose and how you can build the image using docker compose and how to run the image using docker compose. So now one last thing is remaining, which is Docker Hub. Now let's see how we can use Docker Hub as a repository to upload and download our docker image to Docker Hub. And so I'll teach you I'm going to explain all the process how you can pull and push the docker image into Docker Hub. So let's start that part. So now I am going to log in into Docker Hub. You just need to type Docker Hub login. You can log in. So So I have already created my account. If you don't have account, you can do the sign up. Just continue. You need to give the password. So this is my Docker hub. You can see this, and if you want, you can create the repository. So I'll just create the repository, Docker sample. So you have Python, Scala and Pyspark. We are running this. So I'm making this public. So you can note use underscore comma all this thing. Alphanumeric. So I'll put docker. Must be lowercase. So you need to follow this combination. So I am creating the repository. Okay, so you can see it's given you docker push tag name. So using this you will be able to push the command. So let's see like how we can do this. So now I created the repository, and my username is this. So first thing, as you see, if I do docker image ls, all the image are there. You see image id is there. Now we need to tag them. So to tag them we use this command. So this is the command. So you need to give the tag name. So here I'll give this one should be your image name. So first I am pushing I'll push the Python, the very basic. I am pushing the Python. I am going to push the Python image into Docker hub. So you need to pass the tag. First you need to pass the image name. This is the image name. Then in your username, then the repository name, and then the tag name, which is your Python basic. So you see I am able to tag them. Also you might need to do docker login. Let's see my login is there or not. So you need to do the docker login. So my user is, this one is my username, and I need to pass the password. Okay. So you see I am able to log in. My login is succeeded. So to do the docker login, you will use this command, docker login. Okay. So I already tagged them. So after tagging, when you see, you will see the tag name also. So you see this is Python basic. Now let's push that. So to push that command, you will use this docker push. Now if I just paste this, now you see it's pushing it. So it's like if you have worked with GitHub Git, it's like similar way. So now if I go here, if I refresh this, you'll be able to see. So you see we have this docker sample. So we already, you see the tag name, it's Python basic. Now if I have to pull this image, the image I have pushed, I need to use this docker pull and this one that you were saying. So docker pull my image name and the repository name. So if I copy this, now let's see, this I pushed from the EC2 machine. Now if I just simply use my own machine, so let's create a directory, or maybe I can just create a directory in my local laptop. This is my Mac. So test docker Now if you see, if I do, so I have Docker installed in my PC. So now I'll be able to pull my image from the Docker hub. So you see I just pulled the image. Oh, okay. So here if you want to run this, your Docker should be running. So my Docker is not running. So I need to start the Docker from the laptop. So this is my Mac. The example I have shown you, which was completely on Amazon EC2 server. So my Docker is starting. So once my Docker will be started, I'll be able to pull the image whatever I pushed it here, and I am able to run that image also. So now let's see whether it started. Still starting. Once it start, then I'll show you how to pull from Docker hub and how to run the same image. Let's try, maybe it's taking time. Docker pull. Okay, so you see it will be able to pull the Docker image. Okay, it's giving me this error. You can push past the tag name also if needed. So what was the tag name? So this was the tag name, Python basic. So now you see, this is the complete command. You need to pass the tag name. So now you see I am able to pull my Docker image from the Docker hub. Okay, now if I have to run this, then so this image, if I do docker image ls, you will see this Docker image will be created. You see this is the Python basic. Now to run this, I can just directly use docker run, and I can just either I can run like this, or I will just pass the image id. So if I pass the image id, you see hello Docker, I am able to run my Docker. So this was it. So I almost explained all the scenario where you can create the multiple Docker image, and you can use, so if you see this, so this is the structure. If you want to run Pyspark, you can run the Pyspark container. If you want to run Python, you can run Python. Scala, you can run Scala. Any web server or anything using Docker, you can run. So as I am a big data architect, I am more focused on big data, Scala. So this was it. I have also explained how to use Docker Compose, how to push the Docker image into the Docker hub, and how you can pull the Docker image from the Docker hub. I'll give you all the script I have used and all the command I have run in the description. So if you want to learn more on big data related technology, so please subscribe my channel, like the video, and I'll see you soon in the next video. So bye for today.